Hi, everybody. Welcome to Access Astrology. I'm Ann Ortley. I'm an astrologer here in New York City at the Bright Red Desk on a hot, sunny summer day. And I am joined by my compadres here, Mark Woltz and Heather Roan Robbins. Mark, where are you hanging out these days?
I'm hanging out in upstate New York,
Cool.
near the border to Massachusetts, so at the Berkshires.
Yeah, that's so pretty up there.
Yeah.
And I'm out here in western Montana, where it is also a beautiful day today, but getting a little hot. We're heading into fire season, the big dry between now and the fall.
Yeah, yeah. And we just had a lovely Jupiter and Venus conjunction. Jupiter is in Cancer once every 12 years. And the girl and the guy just met up, and she said, Jupiter, I have some fun things I want to work on. And he goes, what do you want to work on, Venus? He goes, what do you want to work on, Venus? And so now today, they met up in Pisces, which is all about the dream. But now today and the next thing, every time the moon changes signs, Venus and Jupiter are going to go, oh, now we should do this. So today the moon's in Aries, very fast moving, quick moon, zoom, zoom, zoom. So you're probably at a zoom, zoom, zoom kind of day. You'll have another one tomorrow. Then the moon goes into Taurus, a little more languorous with really good food and a little sunshine and some corn on the cob and maybe a bit of watermelon, enjoying the summer produce. So we're in a nice time. It's a good time for electional going forward. We also have Mercury, which just stopped Monday and is going to be going forward through the end of the month. So you're still going to hear from your ghosts.
So much happening. Yeah.
The people that you need to connect with and talk with. But remember, Mercury's stationed on a world point. So he's very juicy in terms of how he wants to help us communicate. And you can see in the sky, there's this lovely minor grand mystic rectangle here with Mars and Libra trining the Pluto, trining the or sextiling the Saturn and the Aries. And then trining, picking up that Mercury station. So it's a fire and air mystic.
And Uranus there over at 1 degree, the grand trine with the arrow.
Well, there's a grand trine in air, but there's a mystic rectine in air and fire. So between the combo, a lot of energy to get stuff out the door and going. And the moon goes void tomorrow with a trine to the sun in a Sagittarian shape, which is let's get it out in the world. Let's plan the trips. Let's promote the stuff. Let's start the beginning. It's the beginning. So it's fun.
And unfortunately, our president saw that too and decided, let's take over New York City. Washington, D.C.
New York's next. He's coming for us next.
I believe it. So just taking a quick look at the Sibley chart with the transits for today, because I thought they were so heavy. We were born. Is that the chart with transits today? No, that's with the solar things. That's with the progress, because his progressed Jupiter has been conjuncting our sun, our natal sun. But America was born with that Venus-Jupiter conjunction in Cancer. And that's one reason why, it's do you love us or do you not love us? If you don't love us, are we going to reject you? If we do love you, we'll bring you in. But that conjunction, that Saturn, all of those planets that are hitting at that 1 or 2 degrees, it's coming close to that Venus at 3. It's setting that off. It's squaring this, challenging all of us. And it feels like that and the Uranus is hitting the 7th house cusp, changing who we want to be with. It's really taking a good look at what's being triggered now, and can we move forward with this in a good way? It's kind of scary, but we have hope. Coming back to that.
Scary for why? Why are you calling it scary?
Why I'm calling it scary with that Saturn Neptune right down at the bottom of the chart, and I'm sorry I don't have that on here. Saturn and Neptune right at the IC. It feels like we're really asked to walk our talk. Our progressed moon is in Aries, going through the 4th house, and so you see all this, bringing the military into the hometowns, which I see that Uranus. Now, it could be all kinds of good new beginnings, but it looks like it's only at 10 degrees now. It's another 20 months of dealing with this feisty, fiery response and attempt to control with that Saturn and Neptune sitting right on their IC, checking out what we believe, where we're going, and how we can take it from here.
Right.
So I think
Yeah,
it's
that
really important
Saturn,
that we keep speaking up.
that Saturn-Neptune conjunction can bring out the worst or the best. And we'll see a little of each, or a lot of each, actually.
Sitting right down here on the IC.
On the IC. Yep.
It's going to back off for the fall and then come back again next spring. I
Mhm.
think that some of the intensity of the conflict now is going to slow down for the fall, or shift for the fall. And we're getting a lot of how do we go back to what we used to do, and which isn't working. And you were heading into a Uranus return, the second, the however many Uranus returns. It happens once every 83 to 84 years.
It'll be our fourth one. Yeah.
And that's always a tricky time when are we in or are we out? So many people choose not to make it through that time. We've already done several of them. We know how to do this, but it still says, what do you want to do with this? How do you want to respond? What changes can you make to re-up for a new spin around the sun?
Yeah, and the worst case scenario in those Uranus returns is if you don't listen to anybody else. Uranus return makes you feel like you don't have to listen to anyone else. I know the deal. Here it is. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Yeah. Well, and because it's in Gemini, it goes to the retrograde Mercury in Cancer. So when the founding fathers picked it, Uranus hadn't actually been discovered at the point they picked the chart, but they picked Mars in a weak position in a weak house, answering to a retrograde Mercury, which is great. But now, if we look, Mars up at the top is retrograde in Libra, again a weak position, but it's coming to our country Saturn, which is a strong Saturn high, exalted in Libra in the 10th house. But Mars is coming to that and kind of making us reassess what our structures are, and more importantly, why there are structures. And so I think part of the thing with the energy is we're being asked, you can see the North Node over there in the 8th house asking us for the vision that we have. What is our vision? And I think that's important. We all need to have a vision that guides us. And we can, whatever that is, that's your job. You're incarnated with your chart that has a mission and a purpose and a reason for being here. And we're all here right now to go through this together in different ways based on our chart. But the most important thing is the vision we have for our future. And that's the key to getting through this time, I think. And then,
I agree. And I think there's something about that Venus Jupiter that we have to if we can bring it back to our love for our ideal for this country, our love for our vision statement, not what's going on now, but if we can operate from that, we believe in its potential with that lineup of planets in Cancer, our chances of being heard are better.
Yep. Yeah. And of having an impact. Which I think is the most important thing. It's like, we're not without voices. We're not without, but you also see, it was an interesting, Kamala Harris was on Stephen Colbert and he said, so you feel like saying you told you so? And she's like, no. And he said something, and she said, well, the thing I hadn't anticipated was how fast people would capitulate.
Right.
Not actually people capitulating. It's the government capitulating, or the corporations. Now, Capricorn.
And it is people. It is many people, that many of the Republicans who had shown resistance before just, didn't hold on to what they decided to say.
Right. But also there's an energy here when it's more organizations capitulating, people go, wow. But remember, Pluto in a Capricorn takes out the power structures. So when it took out the king and the French Revolution, took out the Catholic Church and the Protestant Reformation. So this Reformation, the things that are in charge are corporations. And so that will be what we challenge. And we say, hey, who are you guys to tell us what to do? And so that's what's coming, and watching them all fold because of their profits or whatever their reasoning is. I think that's an important thing to remember. It's not the people folding, it's the companies folding. And so that to me says weakness, you're gonna bend over and fold, okay, but then you're not standing up for what you are supposed to be standing up for. So I think we're at the beginning. So the goal here is to be like, all right, what'd you do? Good. And Saturn Neptune is an accountability planet. Compromise, Saturn says, what's your karma? Neptune says, what's your belief? How strong are your beliefs? What are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to say, this is what I believe and this is why? So it's a really important time. And right now, we're in the midst of it. So we have to look and go, okay, what is our vision of what we want? So I was talking to somebody and I said, there was that whole thing about Project 2025. I think we need a vision 2029. Like, what is our vision for what the country should look like? Education, housing, health insurance, living wage. What's our vision as a people?
Right. I agree. Coming back to that vision.
Coming back to our new vision, because we need a new one, because this one's, being burned up, basically. Saturn in Aries. There's an
But I still think, when we look at the charts and maybe next time we can talk about the Constitution, that because the Constitution's heading into its Pluto return, and I think it's really an interesting time. I want to click through. We've got a backlog of clients, so I want to talk about this. This is Marty. I've got her tri-wheel up next, and she says she's having surgery and looking for the best dates and time frames. And Anne, that's a specialty of yours. She meets with the surgical team to discuss everything on August 15th. It's a total hip replacement, and she has MS, but she also, has the arthritis so bad that her hip needs to be replaced. And what do we think would be a good time for her to get that total hip? And when you're looking for good times for surgery, what do you look for?
First, a good closing aspect from the moon, that the moon is not in the sign of the body part being operated on, and it's not in Scorpio, because Scorpio tends towards infections.
And Scorpio would be her hip, wouldn't it? Would hip be
hip is
Sagittarius?
Yeah. So you can see her natal Jupiter is retrograde in Cancer, and her progressed Jupiter now is in its detriment in Gemini in the 8th. And then, so you'd look for that. And usually surgeons operate on a couple days a week. So I say, okay, get the couple days that they operate on, and then let's go forward. So we aren't going to do it in eclipse season. She's getting evaluated now. Eclipse season is the Virgo Pisces, and that's it's running through her 4th and her 10th. The eclipses, one's at 29 and one's at 15. So we're skipping eclipse season, which is the fall, September. And then we go forward. And because she has Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, and Jupiter's in Cancer now, that's a good sign, because that kind of speaks. And Jupiter is going to station at about 23, 24 on her retrograde Mars in October. So I would look for a surgery date in October with Jupiter on the Mars. Mars is the ruler of her 6th house of health.
As long as the moon is not in Scorpio.
As long as the moon's not in Scorpio, and it has a good closing.
Or Sagittarius.
Or Sagittarius, yeah. And I would like it to be, in terms of a, working moon, you want a good closing aspect, like a moon in Cancer or a moon in Taurus. They're happy moons. Because she's got Mars in Cancer, that might be having the moon in Cancer might be a good one. Again, looking at the dates. But I would definitely look for the October timeframe. And I might even wait until Jupiter hits that Mars. It stations, I think, at 25 mid-October. But because she has a retrograde Jupiter and she has a retrograde progressed Mars and a natal Mars, I would wait until then, because the retrogrades are good for her fixing things. Because she has the retrograde planets, I would pay attention to those. And then the moon in Taurus is when it's in Taurus, it's in her 5th house. And then also, if it's in Aries, it's partly in the 6th house of health. So, but it does look good for, finding a doctor that's helpful. And her Venus is now moved into Pisces, which is an exalted Venus. So that's really helpful. And the Venus is getting off the Saturn, right? It's going past the Saturn, which should give her more mobility. The progressed Venus is off the natal Saturn. and off the progressed Saturn, but that should give her more mobility. Plus, she's got the Sun Saturn opposition, so recovery is always, an issue with hips. But a lot of times, they do there's different kinds now, but also with her Mercury, the Mercury in Leo retrograde station was on her Mercury.
And
her progressed Mercury. So she's got you have good aspects, Marty, for getting this fixed.
And I'm seeing that Saturn, Neptune coming up to trine this. Pluto is going to be opposing that in a few years. So I think it's really good that you deal with it this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then keep up the physical therapy afterwards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, physical therapy is the most important. And she is in a lot of pain. So that's the other thing, is the ascendant has gotten off Athena. So she's in right mind in terms of making the decisions. She's going to pick a good surgeon. I wouldn't do it while Mars is in Libra, which is a detriment, so that's going to be August and September. But once Mars gets into Scorpio, excellent for surgery. And he'll be in Scorpio for 2 months this fall. Nope.
Excellent.
Nope.
And Mark, do you have any last comments to make on that?
No, it looks like things are lining up. Just go with what they tell you. Yeah, and you have Mars, Moon working together in your natal chart. So just pick a good moon for it.
Okay. And Marty says, thank you so much, by the way.
They're probably going to want her to do some PT before the therapy, before the surgery, and she should do that.
I highly recommend that as someone who did back surgery recently.
Mm-hmm.
And this chart is Ashley, a federal employee, that she has not been let go so far, but she knows there's a shift coming in regarding career. And what do we think about it? I have her 3 wheels, but I wanted to take a good look at who she is and what she does. You can see with that moon in Virgo at the top of the chart that people, like her details, like her ability to analyze what's going on and fix it, which is an important part of this. With the sun and with everything in the 8th house, it looks like she has been, and Pluto's been opposing it, is dealing with other people's resources, and that's one of her jobs here. Now, how else besides working for the federal government can she use that Virgo on the midheaven and that loaded 8th house?
Work with that Mars conjunct Sun in Cancer. You get really upset when things are not well organized and the details are not in order. So back off a little from that getting upset and let people tell you what's working for them instead of you telling them what's working for you.
And if you can stay there for the next 16 months while your progressed moon in Pisces goes across the bottom of your chart, it's not a time when you're feeling particularly aggressive out there. Like, if you've got safety in this job, enjoy it and use it to pivot and reconceive your life. When that progressed moon hits Aries and then starts to conjunct Neptune, and Saturn will be a little bit farther on by then, I think you'll feel ready to make a change and ready to be adventurous about the next phase of your life.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the eclipses coming in September, because that full moon eclipse is right on your in your career sector, and it squares your Venus and your Uranus and your progressed moon. So could be your boss gets fired, but it could be some kind of really big reorg at work.
Yeah.
So that would be because the south node's going through the midheaven. The south node's going through the midheaven. There's a very strong energy there around direction and how we get things done, right? So what we want to do here is kind of work with a different way of looking at things, right? And also with the eclipse, there's a push forward in terms of direction and how you do things. So that eclipse is very strong in your chart. It's at 29. The new moon eclipse is at 29 Virgo, and that's in your 10th house. And that aspects your Athena as well, in a good way. And it also, it's a big, eclipse is angular. So did you change jobs, lose a job in Did you change jobs, lose a job, and I didn't turn it off, so I apologize. Did you change jobs, lose a job in 19 years ago, in 2006, 1987, 1968? She wasn't born. So
Yeah.
did your dad lose a job in 87 or your mom? Family history with moving, right? So
And I'm looking at that south node in Scorpio in the 12th house, that it feels very safe and familiar to be part of a very large organization. The 12th house is often, corporations or big federal buildings where you are one of a hive.
yeah.
But her north node in Taurus in the 6th house suggests that she take that and work on a smaller scale and feel like she can really be of service. So if she
Mhm.
decides to leave the kind of the familiarity of or if she's kicked out of the familiarity of the federal the big organization, look for something more 6th house, more of service, more personal.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it definitely looks like you've got an opportunity for a change in your job situation. So
And you
and
have the time. You have the time that you can put something together,
yeah,
so it won't be sudden and
yeah,
like feeling lost.
right.
You won't feel lost.
Hmm. But that south node's right on her moon, and moon ruling the eighth. So, and also look, I mean, there's a lot of accounting energy in this chart, or a lot of good energy in keeping track of details and taking care of people. So being an office manager, working in some capacity, in a leadership capacity, that may also be part of it. That as the chart changes and changes focus and moves into a new chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Robert is a detective who is just about ready to retire at a young age from being a detective, and with a Aries moon in Virgo that works, but was recently in an accident that's being investigated now. This is when the accident happened, and they're wondering is when is the investigation going to be over. He was chasing someone down, and as he was chasing someone he was in the car, they were in a bike, and they fell off their bike. Now they're okay. He caught them. They did it, but he's still being investigated for that process. It'll probably come out okay. It looks good to me. I think it's pretty soon. What are you seeing? I mean, we've got that, was that, this is the event, this is when it happened.
Yeah,
And
just
now Jupiter and Venus are over here.
right.
I don't think let me see if I've got, this is when the accident happened. So what do you think about this as an event chart?
Well, the Mercury retrograde and the Sun in the, it's 10th house. It's clearly career indicated. And the Mercury retrograde, we just had Mercury go direct. So I would imagine they're kind of finishing it up now and probably will release it before the end of the month.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, because when you had the accident on the Mercury retrograde, and you have all that Gemini stuff in your chart, including the node. So they have to do everything twice. Gemini, of course, is bikes, and the progressed Sun. Yeah, the part of fortune is on your Sun, so I don't think it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think ultimately it turns out okay, and then you can retire. So, but also I think the energy of it does look positive. The moon in Pisces is what's making you anxious, and Saturn on your progressed moon there, he gets back. Your progressed moon gets into the midheaven now. It's gone into the midheaven. So we're doing April, May, June, July, August, September, October. When Saturn gets to 25 in October, you should be able to retire.
Yeah, and that Venus-Jupiter conjunction is right on your ascendant.
Yeah.
I think this really, that it not only takes care of you, that you look good coming out of this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one last chart. This is for Elizabeth. And yeah, fed up with dead-end job in a health food store. Has real potential for doing things, but doesn't know how to make astrology or intuitive arts a career. What do we think? And we also all know that making astrology a career is not something that I think I remember when someone said about being an artist, only be an artist if you can't do anything else. Because because you have to have that kind of calling to starve with it and stand up for it and do the work necessary to make a run of it. And I kind of feel that way about being an astrologer, that you it if you really feel called to it and the work, if I think when the Chaldeans, it will take you through there. You've got that Jupiter Uranus on the cusp of the sixth house. It is a way you can be of service to the world, but I'm not sure that it's quite time to push that. It also, you've got that Cancer planets in the first house and the Cancer rising. And even though the moon's in Scorpio, I think you're like the natural foods industry. I don't I don't think you like people. I think this is that Cancer moon in Scorpio is a classic. I love all sentient beings. I just can't stand people aspect.
Yeah.
Um, and so something where you're less, public face forward and doing the deep work with people seems an important part of that process. Um, and this is her the trifeel. Her progressed moon is in Taurus right now, at 23 degrees. And that Saturn Neptune, this conjunction, the Saturn Neptune conjunction, is trining her love of astrology and a desire for change, and good with computers and internet and getting the word out online. But I would say that it might be an easier time for her to step into the work, in when her progressed moon goes into Gemini in about, what is it, 7 months?
Yep.
What do you see, Anne?
Um, I'm, she does. I'm curious what kind of astrology she wants to do, because she doesn't really have a lot of planets in seven. I mean, she may not live in Rockville Center either. She doesn't have a lot of planets in 7, 8, and 9, which is talking to people one-on-one. And she doesn't have a whole lot of planets in the 11th house of group stuff. She has a lot of planets in being very interested in it and in a creative way. So the creativity piece is very helpful, the 5th and the 6th house.
Or writing.
Yeah, writing and communicating. And she does have the ability, with moon ruling her and the 2nd house, with the moon in the 5th house of creativity and the sun in Cancer answering to it. So she has an ability to make money from things that she creates. So that's a very strong part of her chart. So that would be the one thing I would say is, like, what are you looking to create? And then that works well for her making money. I definitely see that ready for a new job, doesn't want to do it anymore. That's that sun on the Venus in Virgo, but it's not. And I do see the Jupiter Venus in the first saying, okay, I'm ready for something new. And Jupiter does rule her career house, but it doesn't feel like her chart's really thought out how she can do it. So that would be my question to her is, well, what's your plan for doing it? And where you're going to find clients, because you can read a person, but then they go away and they may never come back again. Right. They may, and so getting, however many clients you need for a business where you need a certain amount of repetitive, but also, pulling in new clients to equal your salary. And with her sun in Cancer in the 2nd, she likes a paycheck, or she likes a guaranteed income.
Yeah, that Mercury trine in Leo, trine those, it could be good at communicating, podcasting, but I would say, to really think about how you like to spend your day. And look at a job that actually aligns with how you like to spend your day. You've got that classic Leo Scorpio clash. I want to be seen. I don't want to be seen. I want to be out there. I need privacy. Like, how do you balance your life so that you have some connection, but it's not too heavily personal, and some depth, but that you don't isolate?
Right.
And Mark, what do you see?
Yeah, it feels like whenever you want to express yourself and really step forward, there's a big resistance, and that's your Pluto Saturn square to the sun. It reminds me of if you think of a little chick inside the egg, and it's time to be hatched. There's
Mm-hmm.
there's a scary moment when you like the little chicken takes an elbow and starts banging into the shell, and having to open that shell
Yeah.
is there's a big resistance to it, but that's what you have to do.
Mhm. Yeah. And you do have really good dreams with that Neptune on the South Node. So I want you to listen to their inspiration, but listen to what they say how to do it too. Because that Neptune on the South Node is tied to acumen, the fixed star. It makes you very good as a very good psychic also.
Yeah.
Where you get intuitive understandings about things. And your Mercury right now is on a world point, your progressed Mercury. So that's a helpful one. But it also, Mercury isn't ruling a money house. It's ruling a communication house, and it rules your 12th house. So it rules your node of fate, so you're at a crossroads. And of course, the North Node is going through your 10th house. You don't have the North Node turned on here, but the North Node's up there in Pisces, going through the 10th this year, through the spring. So I'd be curious what the eclipses bring you uh, when we have them, because they're going to be big. The one that we're having in September is right on your Sun Neptune. The one on September 21st. So because your nodes are angular and it's going to be squaring your Neptune, watch for information or maybe requests from people to help or to work with that you're going to work with too. So it's still hatching. It's really kind of soon, Elizabeth. It's not, you can feel it, but it's not formed yet, is the way I would say it. Yeah.
And we're closing up in our time today. I want to thank everybody who has called. We got feedback from one of our callers last time that it was extremely helpful. Thank you for your gifts and insight. It was so accurate and helped me feel like I am being supported to continue moving forward, which is what we love to hear. We love a little feedback, and be happy to do this for you.
Right.
So, any last comments on today's chart for people?
Use that mystic rectangle. Think
Mhm.
about your chart, where the air signs are,
Yeah.
where the fire signs are, and what you can make with air and fire.
Right. Agree. That's it. It's very much passion. It's a passion couple
Yeah.
days, passion couple weeks. So kind of be impassioned. Write it down. It may not happen right yet, but you want to ground it because that Mercury is very active and he's forming this. He's forming aspects. He's forming a kite to the air trine in Gemini, Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius, and Mars and Libra. So the Mercury is the apex of the kite. So you get all these great ideas, write them down because the chart's kind of popping full of ideas.
So if you want to be on this next time or in a couple of weeks, because we're a little backed up, you can reach me at starcodes.hardcodes@gmail.com, not dash, but dot. And you can reach me there if you need a personal reading. And Anne and Mark, how can they reach you for personal readings if they want to have a recorded one-on-one?
AnneOrtley.com or Astro Anne, because people don't always spell my last name right. AstroAnne.com.
And Mark?
You can reach me actually directly through Mark Woltz at dharmarising.com.
Wonderful. And so we'll see you all next week. You take care. Be good to use this kind of momentous energy in a good way. Bye.
Okay, thanks.
I froze. I don't know why I'm frozen.